The FBI field office was cold. Not temperature cold, emotionally cold. The kind of cold that comes from fluorescent lights and government furniture, and people whose job is to find guilt, not innocence. Marcus and Ava sat across from three agents. Diana is beside them, a stack of documents between them, evidence of Marcus's father's crimes spanning 30 years. Let me make sure I understand, Special Agent Morrison said, flipping through the files. You're voluntarily turning over evidence of criminal activity conducted by your late father. Activity that technically makes you an accessory after the fact since you inherited the business and presumably benefited from these illegal transactions. I had no knowledge of these crimes until 3 days ago, Marcus said. The moment I discovered them, I came to you. That has to count for something. It counts for cooperation. Whether it counts for immunity depends on what we find in these files. Morrison looked at Diana. Your client understands that by bringing this to us, he's opening himself up to investigation, that we'll be looking at every transaction, every account, every decision he's made since inheriting the company. He understands. He wants to cooperate fully. He wants his father's crimes exposed and dealt with legally, not hidden. Why now? Why not a year ago, when he inherited? Why wait until someone threatened to expose it? Marcus met Morrison's eyes. Because I was a coward. I wanted to protect my father's legacy, protect the family name. But I've learned something over the past year. Protecting a corrupt legacy isn't worth the cost. Not when it means teaching my children that lying is acceptable, that covering up crimes is acceptable, that power matters more than integrity. Morrison studied him. That's a nice speech, but I need to know if you're genuinely cooperating or just doing damage control. I'm genuinely cooperating. Whatever you need, whatever questions you have, whatever evidence you want, it's yours, all of it. Even if it incriminates you, even then, Morrison leaned back. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Tell me everything you know about your father's business dealings. The interview lasted 6 hours. Marcus walked them through everything. The offshore accounts, the shell companies, the money laundering schemes, the bribes, the fraud, 30 years of corruption laid bare. Some of it he'd known about vaguely. Most of it he'd discovered in the past 3 days while preparing for this meeting. All of it made him sick. My father was a criminal, Marcus said at one point. I knew he was ruthless. I knew he bent the rules, but I didn't realize the extent of it. How deep the corruption went. How many people were hurt. And you profited from it, Agent Morrison said. Not accusatory, just factual. Yes, I lived in a house bought with illegal money, went to schools paid for with fraud, built a life on my father's crimes without knowing it. Marcus's voice was steady but hollow. I can't undo that, can't give back the advantages I had, but I can stop perpetuating it. I can expose it and face the consequences. What consequences are you expecting? Prison, probably. Loss of everything I own. My children growing up knowing their father's family was built on crime. He paused. But at least they'll grow up knowing I told the truth. That's when I learned about the corruption. I didn't hide it. I exposed it. Morrison exchanged looks with the other agents. Mr. Harrington, I'm going to be honest with you. The crimes documented in these files are serious. Multiple felonies. If your father were alive, he'd be facing decades in prison. But he's not alive. You are. and you're the one who benefited from these crimes. I know. However, you're also cooperating fully, providing evidence we might never have discovered otherwise. That cooperation has value, especially if you're willing to testify against others who were involved. Marcus sat up straighter. Others? Your father didn't do this alone. He had accountants, lawyers, business partners, people who knew about the fraud and helped facilitate it. If you can identify them, if you can provide evidence of their involvement, we might be able to offer you a deal. What kind of deal? Immunity from prosecution in exchange for testimony. You'd still lose the assets acquired through illegal means. The company would probably have to be dissolved or sold. But you wouldn't go to prison. You'd be free to start over with your family. Marcus couldn't breathe. Immunity. Really? If, and this is a big if, you can help us build cases against the others. If your testimony leads to convictions, if you're genuinely cooperating and not just trying to save yourself, I'll do whatever you need. I'll testify. I'll provide evidence. I'll help you find everyone involved. Marcus's voice was urgent. Just please, don't take me away from my children again. They've already lost so much. Please. Morrison's expression softened slightly. I've read about your case, what you went through with James Chen, what your children went through. I have kids, too. I understand what you're trying to protect. Then help me protect them. Help me do the right thing without destroying them in the process. I'll do what I can, but you need to understand. This investigation will take months, maybe years. During that time, you'll be under scrutiny. Your life will be dissected. The media will have a field day. It won't be easy. Easy or hard doesn't matter. As long as I'm with my family, as long as I'm free to be their father. Morrison nodded. Okay, here's what happens next. We'll take these documents, start our investigation. We'll need you available for follow-up interviews. We'll need access to all your accounts, all your records, all your communications. And we'll need you to wear a wire when talking to anyone we suspect was involved in your father's schemes. A wire? Yes, to get them on record, to build cases we can actually prosecute. Are you willing to do that? Marcus looked at Diana. She nodded slightly. Yes, Marcus said. Whatever it takes, I'm in. They left the FBI office at 6 p.m., exhausted, drained, but cautiously hopeful. Did that really just happen? Marcus asked as they got in the car. Did the FBI really just offer me immunity? Conditional immunity, Diana corrected, based on your cooperation. If you follow through, if you help them build cases, if you testify when needed, then yes, you'll avoid prison. But I'll lose everything else. The company, yes, the mansion, probably. Most of your assets will be seized as proceeds of crime. But Marcus, you'll have your freedom, your family, a chance to start clean. That's all I want, all I've ever wanted. Ava grabbed his hand. Then we fight for it. We cooperate fully. We help them catch everyone involved in your father's crimes. And we build a new life from whatever's left. What if there's nothing left? What if they take everything? Then we start from zero. People do it every day. We're smart, capable. We'll figure it out. Marcus pulled her close. How are you so calm about this? We just agreed to help the FBI dismantle everything my family built. Everything that's sustained us for generations. Because what your family built was rotten. It was beautiful on the outside, but corrupt underneath. And I'd rather have nothing honest than everything dirty. Even if nothing means struggling, working normal jobs, living in a normal house, especially then, because that's real, that's earned, that's ours. She kissed him softly. I didn't fall in love with Marcus Harrington, the billionaire. I fell in love with the man who stood at windows at 2 a.m., carrying everyone else's weight, the man who chose his family over his empire, the man who's willing to lose everything to do the right thing. That's who I married. Everything else is just noise. Marcus held her while Diana drove them home. And for the first time in weeks, he felt something like peace, not complete peace. The investigation would be long and painful. There would be trials and testimony and media scrutiny. But he'd chosen honesty. He'd chosen family. He'd chosen integrity over legacy. And that choice, that simple choice, changed everything. They got home to find Sophia waiting. She'd been watching the twins, playing with them, keeping them safe while Marcus and Ava faced the FBI. How did it go? She asked immediately. Better than expected, Marcus said. They're offering immunity if I cooperate fully, if I help them build cases against everyone involved in my father's crimes. Sophia looked relieved. So, you're not going to prison? Not if I follow through. Not if I testify. Not if I do everything they ask. Then you'll do it, whatever it takes. That's the plan. Marcus picked up Noah, who toddled over the moment he heard his father's voice. How are they today? Perfect. Lily learned a new word. Want to hear? Please. Sophia looked at Lily. Lily, what's your favorite person called? Lily grinned. Dada. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. She said Dada. That's her word. She chose Dada. She's been saying it all day. Dada this, Dada that. You're her favorite. I'm everyone's favorite, Marcus said, but he was crying and smiling at the same time. Ava rolled her eyes fondly. Don't let it go to your head. But she was crying too, because these small moments, first words, tiny milestones, normal parent things, they were what they'd been fighting for all along. Not money, not legacy, not power, just this, just family, just love. That night, after the twins were asleep, Marcus did something he'd never done before. He apologized, not just to Ava, to everyone. He called Sophia into the living room, asked her to sit. I need to say something, something I should have said a long time ago. He took a breath. I'm sorry for everything, for how I treated you when Emma died, for blaming you, for making you feel like you'd failed when you'd made an impossible choice that I should have been there to make with you. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Marcus, let me finish. Please, he continued. You did what you thought was best for Emma. You chose mercy over suffering. And instead of supporting you, instead of grieving with you, I pushed you away. Made you carry that alone? That was wrong. Cruel. And I'm sorry. You didn't know the whole story. You thought I should have trusted you. Should have asked instead of assuming. Should have been a better partner to you. A better father to our daughter. Even if I only got to be her father in memory. Sophia was fully crying now. You were young. We both were. And your father manipulated everything. You can't blame yourself for... I can. And I do. But I'm also forgiving myself. Because holding on to that guilt doesn't honor Emma. Living better does. Being the father to Lily and Noah that I never got to be to her, that honors her. He reached for Sophia's hand. And I want you to know something. You didn't fail Emma. You loved her. You protected her from pain. You made an impossible choice with grace and strength. That's not failure. That's love. Sophia collapsed forward, sobbing. Marcus held her while she cried, while she released 5 years of guilt and grief and self-blame. Thank you, she finally whispered. I needed to hear that. I needed to know you didn't hate me. I never hated you. I hated myself. I projected that onto you because it was easier than facing my own guilt. He pulled back to look at her. Can you forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. We were both doing our best in an impossible situation. There's everything to forgive, but I'm hoping you'll do it anyway. Sophia hugged him tight. Of course I forgive you. You're family. That's what family does. Family, Marcus repeated. Yeah, we're family. All of us. Messy and complicated and broken in places, but family. After Sophia left, Marcus turned to Ava. I need to apologize to you, too. For what? For everything. For being cold when we first met, for keeping you at a distance, for making you sign a contract instead of just getting to know you like a normal person, for all the walls I built and the ways I hurt you trying to protect myself. Ava smiled softly. Marcus, we've been through this. I've forgiven all of that. I know, but I never actually apologized. Not properly. Not the way you deserve. He took her hands. Ava, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for every moment I made you feel unwanted, for every time I chose fear over love, for every wall I built that kept you out when I should have been letting you in. You were protecting yourself. I understand. Understanding isn't the same as not deserving an apology. You deserved better than what I gave you. You deserved to be chosen immediately, not after months of me being an idiot. You deserve to be loved openly, not hidden away like a shameful secret. Marcus, let me finish, please. He squeezed her hands. You are the best thing that ever happened to me, the bravest person I know, the woman who saved me from becoming my father, who showed me what love actually looks like, who stood by me through prison and scandal, and everything that should have made you run. He got down on one knee. Ava's breath caught. What are you doing? Something I should have done the first time, properly. He pulled out a ring, not the one from their contract wedding. A new one, simple, beautiful, chosen specifically for her. Ava Thompson Harrington, will you marry me? For real this time. Not because of contracts or debt or obligation, but because I love you. Because I choose you. Because I want to spend every day for the rest of my life choosing you. Ava was crying. We're already married. In name, legally. But I want to marry you in the way that matters. In front of people who love us. With vows that mean something. With a celebration of what we've become together, not what we were forced into. He smiled through his own tears. So will you? Will you marry me again? For real this time? Yes, Ava said, pulling him up and kissing him. Yes, you ridiculous man. I'll marry you again. I'll marry you as many times as you want. He slipped the ring on her finger. How about just once more? But properly this time, with our children there, with Sophia and Diana, with everyone who's been part of this journey. When? Soon, before the investigation gets complicated, before the media catches wind. Just us and the people we love making promises that actually matter. That sounds perfect. They held each other in the quiet house, their sleeping children upstairs, their complicated past behind them, their uncertain future ahead. But for this moment, this perfect moment, everything was exactly as it should be. They planned the wedding for 2 weeks later. small, intimate. In the garden of the house, they'd soon have to leave. Sophia helped with arrangements. Diana handled legal details. The Johnsons agreed to come and bring their foster experience wisdom. Are you sure about this? Diana asked Marcus a few days before. Getting married again in the middle of an FBI investigation? The optics are. I don't care about optics. I care about my wife, about making her feel valued and chosen and loved the way she always should have been. The FBI can investigate me while I'm married or single. Either way, I'm cooperating. Either way, I'm telling the truth. The wedding doesn't change that. Fair enough. Just don't be surprised if Agent Morrison shows up with questions. He can ask them at the reception. Everyone's invited. Diana laughed. You've changed. The Marcus Harrington I met a year ago would never have been this relaxed about federal scrutiny. The Marcus Harrington you met a year ago was terrified of everything. Marcus has already lost everything once and survived. What's there to be afraid of anymore? That's actually a healthy perspective. Trauma processed correctly can lead to genuine growth. Or, it broke me, and this is what broken looks like. I don't think you're broken. I think you're finally whole. The wedding day was perfect, sunny but not too hot. The garden in full bloom. 20 guests maximum. Everyone who mattered. Sophia stood with Ava as her bridesmaid. Diana officiated, having gotten licensed online specifically for this. And Marcus stood at the altar holding Noah, while Ava walked toward him holding Lily. Both twins in tiny formal outfits, both confused but delighted by the attention. We're gathered here today, Diana began, to witness Marcus and Ava renew their vows, to celebrate not just their marriage, but their survival, their choice to keep choosing each other, despite everything that tried to tear them apart. She looked at them seriously. Most couples promise to stay together through better or worse. You two have already done that. You've survived worse. You've lost everything and found each other again. You've been separated by prison and reunited by choice. So, today isn't about promising to stay together if things get hard. Today is about acknowledging that things have been hard, and you stayed anyway. Marcus and Ava were both crying already. Marcus, do you want to go first? Diana asked. Marcus handed Noah to Sophia so he could hold both of Ava's hands. Ava, the first time we got married, I barely looked at you. I was so caught up in my own fear and control that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. A brave, brilliant, beautiful woman who deserved so much better than what I gave her. He paused, composing himself. I promise that I will spend the rest of my life making up for that. I promise to choose you every single day, to see you, really see you, the way I should have from the beginning, to love you openly, to be worthy of the love you've given me, even when I didn't deserve it. I promise to be the husband you needed me to be a year ago, the husband I'm trying to become now, the husband our children will be proud to call their father. I promise that no matter what the FBI investigation reveals, no matter what happens to the company or the money or the legacy, I will never lose sight of what matters. You, the twins, our family. That's my legacy now. That's what I'm building. That's what I choose. He squeezed her hands. I love you, Ava. I've loved you for longer than I admitted, and I will love you until my last breath. You have my whole heart. Forever. Ava was openly sobbing now. That's not fair. How am I supposed to follow that? Everyone laughed. She took a breath, steadied herself. Marcus, When I married you the first time, I thought I was saving my father. I thought this was a transaction, a business arrangement, something to endure. But you saved me instead. You showed me what love looks like when it's not conditional, when it's not based on performance or perfection. You showed me that I was worth fighting for, worth choosing, worth loving. I promise that I will keep fighting for us, for this family, for the life we're building together, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what we lose or what we have to sacrifice. I promise I'm in this completely, forever. I promise to be patient with you when you're struggling with your father's legacy, to remind you that you're not him, that you get to choose who you become, that breaking generational trauma is hard but possible. And I promise to love our children the way we both needed to be loved, to give them security and honesty and a home where they're valued for who they are, not who they're supposed to be. She smiled through her tears. You once told me that everyone you love leaves. I promise I'm not leaving. I'm staying. Through everything. Because you're worth staying for. Because we're worth staying for. I love you, Marcus Harrington, and I choose you. Today, tomorrow, forever. Diana was crying. Half the guests were crying. Well, Diana said, wiping her eyes, I think we can skip the "does anyone object" part since you've already overcome every possible objection. Everyone laughed again. By the power vested in me by the internet and the state of New York, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Again. For real this time. You may kiss your bride. Properly this time. Marcus pulled Ava close and kissed her. Not the cold, distant kiss from their first wedding, but a kiss full of love and promise, and everything they'd survived to get here. The guests cheered. The twins clapped without knowing why. And for one perfect moment, everything was exactly right. The reception was simple: cake, music, dancing, joy. Marcus danced with Ava, then with Sophia, then with Lily, who giggled as he spun her around. You're happy, Sophia said when they danced. Really happy. I don't think I've ever seen you like this. I am happy, terrified about the FBI investigation, anxious about the future, but happy. Is that weird? It's healthy. It's growth. It's what Emma would have wanted for you. Marcus's eyes filled. Do you think she'd be proud of who I'm becoming? I know she would. You're breaking cycles, building something better. That's exactly what being a parent is supposed to be. I wish she was here. I wish I'd gotten to know her. Me too. But Marcus, Lily and Noah are here, and they need you. So live for them. Be the father Emma never got. That's how you honor her. Thank you for saying that, for forgiving me, for being part of our family. Thank you for letting me be part of it, for trusting me with your children, for understanding why I did what I did. They hugged. Two people who'd loved and lost and found their way back to something like peace. Agent Morrison did show up, not to arrest anyone, just to observe. Congratulations, he said to Marcus. This is nice, real. Thank you. I didn't expect FBI supervision at my wedding. Morrison smiled. I'm off duty, friend of Diana's. She invited me. But I have to admit, I wanted to see what kind of man voluntarily turns over evidence against himself. Wanted to see if you're genuine or just a good actor. And you're genuine. I can see it in the way you are with your wife, your kids, your friends. You're not performing, you're just being. Is that good or bad for the investigation? It's good for you. Prosecutors like genuine remorse, genuine cooperation, It makes our jobs easier and makes immunity more likely. Morrison accepted a glass of champagne from a passing tray. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being honest. Keep cooperating. You'll be okay. Thank you. That means more than you know. I have a daughter, 3 years old. If I were in your position, if I'd learned my father was a criminal and I had to choose between protecting his legacy and being there for my kid, Morrison shook his head. I'd make the same choice you did, in a heartbeat. He raised his glass to doing the right thing, even when it costs everything. Marcus raised his glass too. To doing the right thing. They drank, and Marcus felt another piece of the weight he'd been carrying lift. He was going to be okay. They were all going to be okay. Late that night, after the guests had left and the twins were asleep, Marcus and Ava sat on the porch. Today was perfect, Ava said. It was. Thank you for agreeing to marry me again. Thank you for asking. Properly this time. I should have done it right the first time. We weren't ready the first time. We are now. Marcus pulled her close. Whatever happens with the investigation, whatever we lose or keep or have to rebuild, today was worth it. This moment right here, us, our family, this is worth everything. Even if we lose the house, even then, houses can be replaced, legacies can be rebuilt. But this, he gestured to the quiet house, their sleeping children inside. This is irreplaceable. This is everything. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Ava asked, Do you regret it? Any of it? Running? Prison? Everything we went through to protect the twins? Marcus thought about it seriously. I regret the pain, the separation, the trauma to Lily and Noah. But the choices? No. I don't regret those. We did what we thought was right with the information we had. We protected our family the best way we knew how. Even though it didn't work, even though we still ended up separated, even though Sophia still ended up making the choice about genetic testing that we'd avoided, even though, because the alternative was doing nothing, letting James have access to Lily, letting the system decide what was best for our children instead of us deciding. At least we fought. At least we tried. And now we're fighting differently, with honesty instead of running, with cooperation instead of hiding. Because we've learned, we've grown, we've realized that some battles can't be won by running. Some enemies can't be escaped. Sometimes you have to face things directly, expose them, deal with them, like your father's crimes. Exactly. I spent years running from my father's legacy, trying to be different without actually addressing what he'd done. But you can't build something new on a rotten foundation. You have to tear down the rot first, even if it's painful, even if it costs everything. Ava kissed him. I'm proud of you for facing it, for choosing honesty. I'm trying to be worthy of you, of the faith you have in me. You already are. You were always worthy, Marcus. You just had to believe it yourself. They went inside eventually, checked on the twins one more time. Lily was sprawled across her crib, covers kicked off, sleeping like she owned the world. Noah was curled up tight, holding his favorite stuffed animal, peaceful and safe. They're going to be okay, Ava whispered. Whatever happens with the investigation, whatever we have to tell them about their grandfather someday, they're going to be okay. Because they have us, because they have love, because they have you. Marcus corrected. You're the reason any of us are okay. You're the one who kept fighting when I wanted to give up, who believed in us when I couldn't believe in myself. You saved this family, Ava, over and over again. We saved each other. That's how this works. They went to their room, their shared room now, no more separate wings, and held each other in the darkness. I love you, Marcus said. I love you too. Forever. Forever, Marcus agreed. And for the first time in his entire life, forever didn't sound like a burden. It sounded like a promise, a beautiful, hopeful, possible promise. But while Marcus and Ava slept peacefully, while their children dreamed safe dreams, while they believed the worst was behind them, Rebecca Castellano was making new plans. She'd watched the FBI arrive at Marcus's house, had seen him leave with documents, had realized he was cooperating, turning over evidence of his father's crimes, choosing honesty over protecting the legacy. It was noble, admirable even, and it infuriated her, because this wasn't how it was supposed to go. Marcus was supposed to be trapped, forced to choose between corruption and prison, between his father's legacy and his freedom. Instead, he'd found a third option: cooperation, immunity, a way out. And Rebecca couldn't stand it. The Harrington family had destroyed her life, had taken her husband. Despite how terrible he was, he'd still been hers, had turned her into a victim, had made her spend 12 years in hiding, and now Marcus was going to walk away, free, happy, with his perfect family and his newfound integrity. No, that wasn't justice. That wasn't acceptable. So Rebecca made a decision. If the legal system wouldn't punish Marcus properly, she would. Not with letters, not with psychological torture, with something worse, with truth. She'd tell the world everything, every secret, every lie, every compromise the Harrington family had ever made. She'd destroy their reputation so thoroughly that even immunity wouldn't save them. Marcus wanted to rebuild on honesty? Fine, she'd give him honesty, the brutal, destroying kind, the kind that ruins lives. Tell me something. Do you think Marcus and Ava finally have peace? Do you think the FBI investigation is the end of their troubles? Or do you think Rebecca's version of justice is just beginning? Drop a comment with where you're watching from and tell me, if someone wanted revenge on you, would you rather they hurt you physically or destroy your reputation? Which is worse? Because Rebecca's about to teach Marcus that sometimes the worst wounds aren't the ones you can see. Sometimes the worst wounds are the truth, told to the wrong people, at the wrong time, in the most damaging way possible. Next episode, you'll see what happens when the past doesn't just haunt you, it hunts you, and it doesn't stop until everything you've built is destroyed.